Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Hundreds attend wake in Clarendon to celebrate the life of Cocopi's murder victims. Hundreds of people turned out at last night's wake in Turner's Clarendon as residents beware to bid farewell to Kimisha Wright and her 4 children. The 5 were brutally murdered in their home last month. The jubilant scenes Friday night temporarily masked the sadness which has gripped the quiet community since the gruesome murders. When reporters visited the area, residents were intent on celebrating the lives lost. Member of Parliament for North Central Clarendon, Robert Morgan, in whose constituency the family lived, was among the massive crowd that turned out for the wake. He says he was grateful to see the outpouring of support for the grieving family.
Well, many thousands have come out because I think the incident really touched the hearts of a lot of our constituents. And as you can see, they have come out to show their support to the family and show their support to the persons who have died, and I'm really happy for that. I think we have too many people here, but it's a good look.
MP calls media conference after Jamaica 60 murals reportedly defaced. Member of Parliament for St. Catherine South Eastern, Robert Miller, has called a media conference after several murals that were painted in anticipation of Jamaica 60 celebrations were reportedly defaced. The media conference was set for 11:30 this morning. In a video being circulated on social media, a man bemoaning the fact that it appears that white paint has been placed over several sidewalks and walk-ins on area. It appears that under the white paint are images of Jamaica flags and other symbols.
Them paint out the thing done. See, After I put in so much time in the thing yesterday and effort. See, See, paint it out. See, Paint out the wall, my G. Paint out the 2 sides them. So you know, say me I go around my house, so I go and use it down.
Search on for 2 robbery suspects. Police have launched a manhunt for 2 suspects who fled the scene of a shooting incident on Sir Ferrisdale Gaspol Highway in Kingston Eastern on Friday, during which 1 man was shot and killed by lawmen. The shooting occurred in the vicinity of the Rockfort Mineral Bath. Information from the Police Corporate Communications Unit said about 12:10 p.m., lawmen were conducting patrol in the area when they were alerted to a robbery in progress. Upon arrival at Rockfort, 4 men traveling on 2 motorcycles, matching the description of the robbery suspects, were signaled to stop but did not comply. The men reportedly pulled firearms and shot at the police, who returned fire. One of the motorcyclists crashed to the ground and one of the men was found with gunshot wounds. He was reported to clutch a Smith & Wesson revolver with 4 rounds of ammunition. He later died at hospital. Another man was accosted and is currently under police guard in hospital, nursing gunshot wounds. The 2 men on the other motorcycle managed to escape. Anyone with information that can assist with this investigation is being asked to contact the Rockford Police at 876-922-2941, Police 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. Department of Correctional Services bus reportedly attacked on Maxfield Avenue. The Department of Correctional Services DCS says there was a gun attack on one of its buses along Maxfield Avenue this morning, however, persons escaped injury. It says it involved members of staff from the Metcalfe Street Security Juvenile Remand Center. According to reports from the staff officer on duty, a department bus driven by a correctional officer was transporting early night staff to their home. The department says upon arriving on Maxfield Avenue at approximately 12:35 this morning, 4 gunmen opened fire at the bus. The escort returned fire, which diluted the attackers. The incident has since been reported to the Halfway Tree Police. GLC strikes Patrick Bailey from the role of attorneys again. The Disciplinary Committee of the General Legal Counsel has for a second straight day struck noted attorney Patrick Bailey of the role of attorneys eligible to practice in Jamaica. Bailey was found guilty of professional misconduct and having failed to return to the complainant the sum of Jamaican $999,000 and also failing to proffer an explanation as to why the transaction and affairs were not completed. Bailey was found to be in breach of Canon 7B subsection 2, which speaks to failing to account for monies in his hands. The complainant, George Webb, reported Bailey to the council in 2020 that he gave the noted attorney the money to complete the purchase of land. Bailey has been ordered to make full restitution to the complainant in order to pay a cost of $100,000 in legal fees. Bailey is also to pay a cost of $100,000 to the General Legal Counsel. Bailey was actually found guilty on July 6 of last year, but the council delayed striking him off the roll at that time to conduct a sanction hearing. Yesterday, Bailey was struck from the role of failure to hand over US $17,640 to a client. Simone Williams complained to the GLC that Bailey collected the money and held it on trust for her. The disciplinary committee found Bailey guilty of professional misconduct and ordered him to make restitution to the complainant in the sum of US $17,640 with interest at 3% until the payment is completed. In addition, he is paying $300,000 in legal costs to the complainant and costs of $100,000 to the GLC. Bailey has the option to appeal. Transport stakeholders welcome passing of road traffic regulations. Head of Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, Egerton Newman, has welcomed the passing of the new road traffic regulations. However, he says public education will be important for the new legislation to be meaningful.
Very long in coming, and of course, never too late for a shower of rain. We welcome the act, we welcome the regulation, because if there's anything in those pieces of legislation that will reduce carnage on our roads, then bring it on, we welcome it. But one of my major concerns, though, too much focus is on the ticketing system. Too much focus is on, looking at how we can gain from this. Not much focus is placed on public education.
Meanwhile, President of the Jamaica Union of Travelers Association, Noel Williams, says he is eager to see the regulations being put to use.
Being on the road, I see the indiscipline. If you come in, even in the halfway tree area, Reddy's Road area, and some of these roads, Malines Road area, you see some of the type of driving that is taking place on the road. It is just unacceptable at every level, and I think the police are to be out in their force and to be enforce the regulation so we can try to stop the carnage on the road. It is not shorter than saying it's a national disgrace to what is happening on our street and our road right now with the amount of people that is being killed every day. And I'm happy for this new regulation, and I'm in full support of it, and I want it to be out there fully active and working.
The leader of government business in the Senate, Kamina Johnson-Simit, says the government will deliver on the public education campaign to accompany amendments to the Road Traffic Act.
It has taken too long, but it is here. The regulations are here. We need to start that public education campaign. We know Minister Shaw has been speaking about that publicly. So we anticipate that the work is also happening within the ministry to prepare for that to be done. And the regulations need to come into effect as soon as possible. Mr. President, Jamaica is waiting for it. We know.
Stiffer fines coming for environmental breaches, says Holness. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has announced that environmental laws will be amended to impose more stringent fines on people found guilty of breaches. The objective is to deter illegal activities that pose a threat to the country's natural resources. According to a release, Holness was speaking with journalists during a tour of the sand dunes at Great Bay in Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth on Friday, July 29, highlighting that some of the country's natural assets are under serious threat as they are being exploited for economic gain. Holness said there are some people who believe in exploiting our natural assets as a form of wealth creation, but it is done improperly and it is also destroying the economic assets and wealth. He noted that earlier this year, the National Environment and Planning Agency (NEPA) served an enforcement notice and cessation order on an individual who carried out illegal sand mining at the Great Bay sand dunes. The person was subsequently arrested and charged and fined $15,000 after pleading guilty to the offense. The Prime Minister says that the fine was paltry and the government intends to work diligently to strengthen the laws to deter further illegal sand mining. It is clear that the government has to take legislative action in increasing the fines. It is not just in the area of environment, but right across the board, he noted. What we are facing is that the society is advancing very quickly, private initiative is moving very quickly, and there is a threat to our social order. We need to ensure that the legislative framework matches the energy that exists from growth and development, and also for deviance in the country, he added. Meanwhile, Holness announced that a policy has been developed to reclaim environmental assets that are located on privately owned properties to ensure greater protection of ecological sensitive natural assets. He said that the next step is to establish legislation for the acquisition of these natural assets for preservation for future generations. We have concluded that for greater protection, ecologically sensitive natural assets should not just be protected by law enforced on private owners, but when the sensitivity is significant, the government should seek to reclaim those to own them. This would mean we have to engage the owners and buy those properties, he explained. So we have developed the policy and will be moving to legislation shortly to put in the regulations and law for the government to be able to acquire ecologically sensitive natural assets, he said. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Senator Matty Samuda, who was also on the tour, noted that sand dunes play a critical role in protecting coastlines from erosions and flooding. They act as sand storage area that can supply material from eroded beaches and also provide an important ecological habitat. Samuda assured residents of Great Bay who are concerned that the removal of sand could cause flooding that the government is working to rehabilitate the area. We are looking at natural-based solutions as well as potentially the need for hard infrastructure if that is what is needed to ensure that the community is protected, he said. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.